So, the big question is, how will Bad Batch Season 3 end? What does it mean for Mount Tantus? How will it tie into Thrawn and the Mandoverse? Well, I think I might have an idea. What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Cantina Talk. What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So I know, along with myself and a ton of people have been wondering, theorizing, and speculating on how the Bad Batch's final season will come to an end. I have to clarify that this is a theory video, but it does have a lot of merit, and I believe that this will be the outcome that we most likely get. I would just like to ask if you can like and subscribe. We are so close to hitting 500 subscribers, and my goal is to hit that by May the 4th. But without further ado, let's just get right into this video. So with Bad Batch Season 3, we all know that unfortunately the entire batch will have to die minus Omega. Omega is without a doubt going to be the sole survivor of the series, but it'll be truly gut-wrenching to see these characters that we've been following since 2020 all brutally die. If one sole member of the Bad Batch had to survive and was going to be looking after Omega, I believe that it would be Wrecker, but that is a video all on its own. For the sake of playing devil's advocate, I'm going to say for this video that the entire batch will die by the end of the series. I believe it'll be a last-ditch effort to save Omega, and that we will be seeing them starting to get killed off one by one, ending with either Crosshair or Hunter. My money is on Hunter. I think if Wrecker dies, he'll be the first one to die, and will have a death very similar to Paz Vizsla's and Mando Season 3. Hopefully just done better. I think Crosshair's death will almost kind of be a throwaway one, but Hauser will be there and will probably end up losing his life trying to save Crosshairs, but being unsuccessful. Crosshair's death will still be very meaningful, just not the most impactful. Lastly comes Hunter. I think Hunter's death will be the most gut-wrenching of them all, and we will probably not even see the full death due to the scene cutting away. Who is the person or people that are doing this to the batch? I do not know, and I don't want to go too far off the deep end, but I think we could very well see a Rogue One-esque Vader hallway scene, where the batch and a lot of the clones that were being freed from Tantus are being cut down like cannon fodder as Vader is just mowing through them all. It doesn't have to be Vader either, it can be an Inquisitor of some sort, it just needs to be someone or something where the batch doesn't even remotely have a chance of surviving, but to them, they know that this is what they have to do to ensure Omega's escape and safety for the future. With this, I think Omega would either be taken by Ventress or Captain Rex. Before we click off the video, just give me a quick 30 seconds to explain myself. We all know that Ventress' story isn't over and that we'll be getting more of it in the show. I think based on everything with Quinlan, Ventress will know that she is the only one capable of keeping Omega safe, maybe even through the use of the path. Now, that is just one of my theories. The second one is that Rex is going to take Omega along with Wolf and Gregor, and we will without a doubt see Wolf, Gregor, and Rex all forming together by the end of the show. It is almost 100% certain at this point. I think that with the sacrifice, Rex will know that he has to keep Omega safe and in hiding because the Empire will not stop at any cost until they find her. Obviously though, we will have to part ways with Omega before Rebels, so I believe by that time she'll be old enough to be on her own and to take care of herself, and will probably even assume a new identity. I'm going to move forward to the second part of this video and talk about what is going to happen to Tantus, along with how Thrawn will acquire it, and how it'll tie directly into the Mandoverse and Dave's heir to the Empire. So to me, the big question is, if the Empire had Tantus all along, why wasn't Gideon using it to produce his clones? Why wouldn't the New Republic take over Tantus, as they would have mounds of Imperial files, data, research, etc.? Well, that is going to be because the Empire is going to abandon Mount Tantus. I think that we are going to see a large-scale assault on Mount Tantus and the 3 other mountain facilities around Tantus. Yes, there are 3 other mountains just like Tantus. I'll have more on them in just a little bit. During this large-scale assault, I believe that the clones are being held captive on the inside and are going to be released by Emery, and maybe even Wolf. If anything, I think Wolf will be the one to lead them on the inside, while Rex, the Batch, and company will be taking the fight against Tantus from the outside. Personally, I do not think that there is a reason why Omega should be here during this assault. If she were to be here, though, I could see her being used as a means to not directly get hit by aerial bombardment because of how important she is to the Empire. Although I don't think she's going to be present for this assault, it just doesn't make sense. The best bet is that she's either going to be watched by Ventress or is in a hiding location set up by Captain Rex, just like Jyn Erso in the beginning of Rogue One. With this, I believe that the Empire will abandon ship and that they will all flee before it is too far gone. Although they wouldn't want any of the research or experiments to get into the hands of the Rebellion or to expose the Empire, so I think that they would sabotage Mount Tantus, easily killing 90% of the clones that are currently fighting there. As well, we could even see an orbital bombardment that Hemlock's lab had the privilege of getting hit by in episode 2 of Bad Batch Season 3. I also believe that these experiments will be let loose out into the wild, like the Lurker Hounds of Vornskurs and maybe even some Islamari, setting us up for the future for Heir to the Empire. I also think that Rex, Gregor, and Wolf, and even possibly a couple other clone survivors will escape Tantus just in time, but the rest of them will succumb to the Empire's orbital bombardment. I don't think we'll see any slither vines, but that will also lead into my next part, which is the time jump. I believe that just like the ending to Clone Wars Season 7, we will yet again receive another time jump. The Clone Wars ended with an amazing send-off for all these characters that we've gotten to love for over 12 years, and I think that we will get that once again with Bad Batch. I think that very similarly to the ending of Victory and Death, we will see a jump in time to the present in the Mandoverse. I think that the shot we will see will be a top-down shot looking down at the ground and seeing a dark, shadowy figure moving past and panning up to the left side of Mount Tantus, where we have gotten the same shot over 10 times throughout Bad Batch. This will be the first live-action look at Tantus, and it'll be completely covered in fauna, there will not be any lights active, and it'll be a shell of its past self, almost fully becoming engulfed by the environment. But from here, the Chimera, Thrawn's Star Destroyer, will slowly come into frame as it's starting to descend and come down towards Tantus base. We will then get the shot of the Tantus base docking area. We could easily see a ship departing from the Chimera and coming down into the landing bay. We will see Thrawn step out along with the Great Mothers, and we'll say something along the lines of, "We have a great deal of work ahead of us," as we cut away, presumably to either an older Omega or the credits. It can go hand in hand. I think, though, that if we saw an old Omega, it would come first before this Thrawn ending. This Thrawn scene very well should be the ending of the show. You might be asking, why would Thrawn even want Tantus? How would Thrawn know about Tantus, and what does it mean for the Mandoverse? Well, as we saw at the end of Ahsoka Season 1, Thrawn is returning to Dathomir with the Great Mothers. I believe that this will be part of the base of operations, but not the main one. I think this will be where Thrawn's army gets resurrected, but we're not going to stay on Dathomir for too long. We know that there are 100 of tombs aboard the Chimera, so it'll definitely take time to resurrect all of these fallen souls. As well, there's also a ton of fallen Night Brothers and Night Sisters on Dathomir still, so those could also be used. Along with this, Thrawn also still has most of his stormtroopers, most notably Captain Enoch. With this, Thrawn is going to be able to need to supply his army with weaponry, gear, and old tech that the New Republic doesn't have a way of picking up, as well as a base of operations. There's going to be so much experimental tech, weaponry, and all-around equipment left over that is going to play a crucial role in Thrawn's full-scale attack on the New Republic. The New Republic wouldn't have any knowledge about Mount Tantus, and this is clear just by how early it is into the Empire's reign in Bad Batch. And even at this point, no one knows about Tantus besides the people that need to be made aware. Also, with Thrawn already being an admiral at this time, I believe that he would have knowledge of Tantus due to his dealings with not only Tarkin but Palpatine as well. Tarkin is already not happy with Hemlock, and I believe that Hemlock along with Nala Se will both die on Mount Tantus. If not, what is even the point of having Dr. Pershing around to begin with? With this, Thrawn gaining control of Mount Tantus will be his fighting chance to turn the tide against the New Republic and will be the main source of his power during the war. Quickly, I would just like to add, we've seen a total of 4 mountain bases, including Tantus. We do not have a map of Mount Tantus, but I decided to make my own and piece the surrounding areas of Tantus together. Mount Tantus is marked A. Mountain C is the one to the right of Tantus, Mountain B is to the upper left-hand side of Tantus, and Mountain D is the possible 4th mountain. More on that in just a little bit. The shot we've become the most familiar with Tantus is this one. I'm going to be calling this the left side shot. I'll be getting into why I'm calling it that in just a second, but next we have the shot that we've seen where Batcher escapes and makes his way to the shuttle crash site. Here we can see there's a total of 3 mountain peaks, all having 2 open levels, meaning the Empire has control of all 3 of these mountains. Also, look at the positioning of the snow on the peaks of these mountains. If we jump back to the left side shot, we can see that we are clearly seeing the left-hand side of the snow starting to fade a little bit, telling us that this is indeed the left side of the mountain that we are seeing. Along with that, we have the shot from the episode in Crosshair and Omega's escape of the turbo laser cannons firing at them. And we can see that there is a river here, and there isn't any mountains in front of Tantus that are being used by the Empire. I'm going to be calling this the front side of Tantus. Also, keep an eye on this river. If we go back to the left-hand side shot, we can see that there's a river on the right-hand side that is coming down and turning into a waterfall. This is the same exact river as from the front side of Tantus, and this is where it leads to. Interestingly though, we can only see 2 snow-covered peaks here. There is a 3rd mountain missing, and I believe that we are seeing it, but it is slightly to the left and behind us, based on the positioning of the mountains at the shuttle crash site shot. Along with that, we have seen the shot multiple times at this landing bay, and here we're seeing a mountain to the left of Tantus. Once again, I believe that this is the 3rd mountain, aka Mountain B. And this one is positioned to the left and behind Mount Tantus, just like it is in the shuttle crash site shot. Although, here's what is going to make me believe that there's a 4th mountain. We've only got this shot from the landing bay on the left side once, and here if you look on the top left-hand side, we can see this mountain peak. We haven't seen the shot in any other episode. I have gone through all 3 seasons and have done a deep dive and haven't found this shot ever again in any episode. This mountain is definitely a mystery, and I think it might play a part in the finale. With this, I could see during the time jump, Thrawn only being able to access the main mountain, which is Tantus. But I don't think these 3 other mountains should be counted out just yet. These facilities are huge, housing millions of items in them, and what they are, we'll have to wait to see in the future. But with that being said, I would love to hear from you all in the comments down below on what you make of this, if it makes sense, if it doesn't make sense, if I'm crazy, or all above. Thank you all so much for watching, and make sure to check out Cantina Jargon. Joe and I will be live again next week, going over tomorrow's episode, as well as episode 13 that comes out next week Wednesday. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And lastly, may the Force be with you all.